Two of the 5 WRL drafts are complete. We had an F3L franchise relocate, and the F3L schedule is locked, loaded, and ready to post. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. I saw Hanley was out there already. Hanley, what's up? I think you're the only one on with me right now. It feels like what we've been doing throughout all of this week anyway is just getting on and chatting with each other. Hey, everybody. Sorry for the rush coming in tonight. I had another great practice with the 8U baseball team. Kids were hitting the ball really, really good tonight. We had another kid that showed up. So the team is now up to 5, so we can almost field the whole team. So feeling pretty good about that. So it's pretty awesome. So we got a couple topics to talk about tonight. It's going to probably be a pretty quick show. Definitely wanted to mention, like I said at the top of the show, that we've had 2 of the 5 WRL drafts done already. First one was the Cerberus region, which was completed on 18 August. That was on Sunday. Want to have everybody get a look at the draft board who has not seen it yet. This has been the talk of the WRL so far since the draft because it was crazy. For those of you that are just fans and looking at this board, there was only one auto drafter in this, and I bet you can't guess which one it was. The craziest team you see on that board actually had a human behind it, but I think they might have been a little distracted with what they had going on in New Orleans for the day. But there is the draft from the Cerberus region. If you want to take a peek at it longer, go ahead and pause it, and you can. What we're going to do is talk about the Sasquatch draft now, which was held the day after, which was Monday at 7 p.m. Their draft board looked a little bit more normal, probably what you would expect. I think everything in the Cerberus was pretty good until the 3rd round when somebody picked up Daniel Jones as a quarterback. Seemed a little early to most of us. So there is the draft board for the Sasquatch region. And the second topic we talked about tonight was we had an F3L team relocate. So let's get into that for a little bit. So just like in many startup professional football leagues, to include the APFA, which later became the NFL, sometimes financial woes can cause a team to fold before they ever play a down. And that's kind of what happened here in the F3L. So the Toledo Bullfrogs were unable to keep the franchise financially afloat, and they had to cease operations. But we were able to find another general manager to take the team, and that is Anthony Monhay. He is last year's Fanatically Real Redraft World Champion. He has taken over that team, and he has relocated it to Los Angeles with the moniker the Los Angeles Dons. LA Dons were an American football team in the newly formed football league called the All-American Football Conference that existed from 1946 to 1949. They played their home games in Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The Dons were the first professional football team to play a regular season game in Los Angeles, which was 2 weeks before the first game of the rival Los Angeles Rams of the National Football League, who had moved from Cleveland. So with this move of Anthony taking that team to LA, it caused us to shift the divisions around a little bit. So the Indiana Firebirds end up moving to the Great Lakes division, and the Dons will fill their spot in the West division. And to kind of get a little bit of a visual of what that looks like, ended up putting together the F3L schedule. Now, for those who don't know, this is a 16-team league, and what we wanted to do was play 14 games. It's a little bit like the APFL schedule. Except for we don't play that final game that crosses over because of the 32, so we're able to accomplish what we want to do regular season wise in 14 weeks, and then still have our playoffs. And the way RSO, which is the site that we run the F3L on, does it is there's no way to really control the playoffs. It's just 8. You can't even do a 17 playoffs. We're at 8, which is 3 weeks. So after the regular season, 15, 16, 17 are our playoffs. I had put this together. I had actually found a template for this for a 16-team, 14-week schedule, and it just has T1, T2, T3, which is supposed to represent each one of the teams. I was able to copy paste that, put it into Excel, and do a bunch of find and replaces. And then as I was going through each one of the weeks, I realized that they actually had a mistake in their template. So I had to fix that. And I think I got it right across the board, which is why I said it's locked, loaded, and ready to post. But I want one more set of eyes on it. I'm waiting for him to respond to let me know that it's good to go. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring that schedule up and hope that you all can see it. Maybe you can pause on this one and zoom in a little bit. Of course, I'm working off half a screen, so I don't really know how big you all can see it. I literally got home with 14 minutes to spare before going live, having to get this set up. I also redid the view of this schedule for you all. I had it as both of those blocks side by side, so it was a very thin, long schedule that you were never going to probably be able to see. But kind of give you an idea of how the schedule is going to work as far as template goes. So you can see Conference 1 is across the top. That's the Northeast and the Great Lakes. And then Conference 2 is the South Atlantic and the West. As you can see, underneath each one of those conferences and under each one of the divisional names, you can see who each one of those divisions play. So in this case, like the Northeast, they play the Great Lakes and the South Atlantic. This is what that looks like to get the 14 games. Everybody in the Northeast will play everybody inside their own division twice. They will play everybody in the opposite division inside their conference. In this case, the Great Lakes, everybody there once. So you've got 6 games so far playing everybody in your division. You had additional 4 games onto that. Why by playing everybody in the Great Lakes, you're now at 10 games. And then you will play as the Northeast division. You will play one other division in the other conference, all 4 teams. In this case, the Northeast division will play the South Atlantic in Conference 2. We don't have any clever names for the conferences yet, but I'm sure that's coming. And then that will happen on a rotational basis. So the Northeast is playing the South Atlantic this year, and then next year that they will play the West. So that will rotate. So every other year, you are playing a different division in the opposite conference. So that is the schedule. What I ended up doing was I didn't like another aspect of the template that I grabbed. They were very lazy in the way that they laid out the schedule, in my opinion. The first 3 weeks of the season and the last 3 weeks of the season were all divisional opponents. Then you played right after the first 3 divisional games, you played 2 teams in the other division inside your conference. Then it was 4 straight games of the cross-conference games, and then you played the other 2 games in the division that is also inside your conference. And then, of course, like I said, you followed up with the final 3. And I always think that when you played them in close sequence like that, and you create a schedule that's like that, that's just out of pure laziness, me personally. So I like to change that up a little bit. Between a schedule that I have used since the beginning of FSA in 1993, along with the way that Toby and I put together the APFL every single year, I look at bye weeks and make sure that the most important games have the least amount of byes. So the number of teams on bye for all 6 weeks of when you're playing divisional opponents, there are only 6 teams off, and that is in week 14. Kev is here as well. Kev, what's up? Hey, good write-ups on those teams so far. I don't know if you're working on a couple other ones, but the ones that you've put out on Discord so far have been great. But there's also the thing that Toby and I like to do is we always like the last game of the year to be a divisional game. In this case, because there are no byes in week 13 in the NFL, we also made that a divisional game. The way I usually do the last 3 divisional games in a 14-week schedule, I usually do them 11, 12, and 14, and 13 would be whatever, another inside your conference game in a different division or a cross conference game. But in this case, since we had 0 buys on week 13, I decided to make that a divisional game as well. And if you're looking at this schedule a little bit closer, and I realize that me stacking it like this might be a little bit confusing, but you see weeks 1 through 14 on the far left-hand side in both top and bottom. And then you can see what type of game is being played that week: divisional game, cross-conference game, or IC, which is the cross-conference. In this case, like the Northeast in week 5 would be playing the South Atlantic in those weeks. Toby and I also have a rule that we will never have 3 of the same type of game in a row, and that's why we try to balance everything that's here. So there's a total of 6 teams off on buys for all 6 of the games that are being played inside your division, and that all happens in week 14. Unfortunately, that's the last week of the season. And then if I remember right from the notes that I sent to you guys the other day, is that 8 teams are off for the games that are being played inside your conference, but the other division, and that is stretched over 3 weeks. I think it's 1 week's got 4 teams off, and the other 2 weeks have 2 teams off. And then the big one is when you're playing cross-conference, where the Northeast would be playing the South Atlantic or the Great Lakes is playing the West. I think we have a total of 18 teams off, but I think that is also stretched over 4 weeks as well. So there's the schedule. If you want to pause that and look at it a little bit closer for those that are in the F3L, you can. So I'm just waiting for one more set of eyes to look at that. And after they do, then I will start taking week by week inside the RSO and putting them in there. I was kind of hoping, I was digging a little bit through their scheduling matrix systems thing on RSO, hoping that they had something where I could put some criteria in and it would spit out a schedule for me, but all it has is random create, random create, random create. There's no way for me to try to go in and do some kind of template. So I have to do it by hand a week at a time. Appreciate it, brother. I just got to look at it a little bit closer, because what concerns me is that 1 week I already found inside the matrix that was wrong. And Kevin, is actually one of your games. It was the game that you should have been playing. I'm going to have to pull it back up again and see. Let me see if I can get myself out of the way. It would have been the week that you were playing. I'm trying to see here. Let's see, where's Erie at? Divisional game week 4. So the same week that the pros are playing the Erie Explosion, which is week 4, they also had you playing the Erie Explosion, which you have already played them in week 1. So that was the thing that I had to fix. Speaking of Damien, there he is. So to be honest with you, since this lame, I'll call it lame, template that was there that just had it doing 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, and I wanted to rearrange it. What I wanted to do was make sure that we had a great first rival, the best that I could get across the F3L, and just to keep it consistent across all of the FSA. That is why I put you and Kevin against each other in week 1 of the regular season. So that particular week that was already built in the template just became week 1. And I actually think that was like week 3 on their schedule. I just bumped it up and made it week 1 because I figured that would be better for everybody. That's the way it should happen. All right, so that takes care of all F3L things. Let's shift our focus back over to the WRL. We have 3 more drafts still to go. We've got 2 this Saturday, and then we got 1 on the 28th, which is next Wednesday. So the next one on the schedule is going to be the Dragons. Their draft is this Saturday, the 24th at 3 p.m. East Coast time. And then later on that evening, we have the Phoenix Region's draft at 10 p.m. If you are part of the Phoenix region, I do believe Hanley is going to broadcast your draft live on a YouTube channel that he has created, along with the ability to do everything through StreamYard now. So when you guys get ready to go live Saturday night, Hanley, if you want, put a link out in the WRL main chat. That way anybody who wants to get in can get in. Yeah, I feel that is probably because that is going to be a very late night for some people. But what I will say is, so far, the two drafts that have happened, one was right at 2.5 hours. It was maybe a few seconds short of 2.5 hours. And the other one was 2 hours and 50-ish minutes, I think. I sure know I wrote those down somewhere, but now I cannot find it in my notes anywhere. Here it is. Cerberus went 2.5, and then the Sasquatch went 2 hours and 53 minutes. So yeah, I'll be there. My goal is to make sure that I moderate all of these. I was just unable to do it for the Sasquatch one because of baseball practice. So I will be there for all of this to moderate, just in case something happens on MFL, which we have seen happen before. So, and then our last, but certainly not least, the Banshees region will be on the 28th, which is next Wednesday. It will start at 8 o'clock. I will just be finishing up baseball practice on that day, at that time, actually. So I will be rushing home just like I did tonight. And then the hope is while we're live on the broadcast, just like this, we'll pop in on their draft and see how it's going over there and watch it for a little bit. Yeah, I will jump on there. If Matt can get on there with you as well, that would be awesome. Let you play the I don't know what you want to call it, the DJ for the video for the night, and you get to take care of all of the putting us on and off and stuff like that instead of me having to do it. I am okay with that for a night. All right, so that's it. Said it was going to be a short show. It is. One more thing that I want to put out there to reiterate one more time, because it happens next week. The NFL roster cut down is on 27 August, which is next Tuesday by 4 p.m. That means for the APFL, we will cut hours the next day on the 28th by 8 p.m., same time that the Banshees are going to start their draft, because I'm going to use that as a topic for the show next Wednesday about what the APFL teams look like as people start dropping them. So you have till 8 o'clock to drop, and then I will be in there talking transactions and all kinds of stuff for the APFL. Hopefully by then I will also have the F3L schedule locked and loaded on the RSO, and we get a chance to see what their schedule matrix looks like on their website. We can post it on here as well. And I think that about wraps it up. If you have anything, hit me up on Discord. But if not, I will be back online. We'll have office hours tomorrow. I don't know what time I'm going to get to them with the way my body feels. I'll probably sleep in tomorrow. So whatever time wake up is for me and the family gets out of here for work and school, we'll turn on office hours and see what we can make happen for all of the leagues this year and for any future leagues that we might have in 2025, 2026. For those of you that are out there watching right now, if you remember King of the Castle, I'm thinking really, really hard about having it make a comeback in 2025. Also, there's going to be the possibility of us making the expansion all the way up to 84 teams here in the WRL. So we'll go from 60 to 84 in 1 year. And I really do believe the 84 is going to be the number that we stay at. Kevin and I have talked a lot about competition for the WRL at 84 teams, and we think it's probably the best thing that we could do. I do realize that my fantasy league allows us to go all the way to like 96 or 100 teams, but 84 will make for great competition for us. And then if we decide that we're going to grow beyond that, Kevin and I have talked about this for a couple of seasons now too. We'll just start a second WRL and then work that however that goes. Got about 2 more weeks of baseball. I think we are in week 20 right now. So we go out to week 22 before we go to the playoffs. Because we are down to the final 2 weeks, middle of next week will be middle of week 21. I'll probably do a baseball update because I don't think we've done one since the first quarter, which would have been like week 5. I think we did one. So probably do a baseball update next week as well. That's it. I just want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank The Recast, the official music of FSA, Nature Coast Apparel, the official apparel of FSA. Definitely want to thank SMS, the title sponsor, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. And then I cannot go out without saying, once again, thank you to Brandon Gums for helping us out get the website back up and running. If you still have not gone out and seen the website this year, go out to iplayfsa.com, and check out the website and let us know what you think about it and see what changes that you would propose to us to make either during this year or before we get ready for 2025 season. For the 5 of you that are here now, I appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and we will see you for office hours tomorrow. You'll have a great night.